Okay, before we dive into our list of icons, it's going to be a short list in the video. It'll be a much longer list in the lecture part or underneath this video. We need to talk about cultural inspirations, right? So fashion doesn't live in a bubble. It lives in the real world, right? So again, if you take a Fashion E45, the design class, we talk about aesthetics, and in that conversation about aesthetics, we talk about how inspiration is everywhere. It's in nature, it's in art, it's in music. It draws on history. It draws on social and political movements, right? Those subcultures, all of that. So there are a lot of cultural inspirations, and we talk about the slide says screen classics and other inspirations, but really it's really the subcultures and those arts movement. And with each historical era, including this one that we're in, art, literature, music, and other aspects of culture thrive. Some of them devolve, but some of them thrive. And social groups, and notably those outside of current social norms, often set the trends of the time. So I am fortunate enough to say in my lifetime, I have been through here for the birth of rap, right? And seeing how rap really has shaped the culture, not just of the United States, but really of the world, right? And as a result, style has changed because of the culture, and even the culture of style has even changed within the culture of rap. So even in rap, right, there are subcultures in that, right? So if we look at classic hip hop, we were to look at, My Adidas with Run DMC, like that was a huge, that was a huge fashion moment. If we look at, the door knocker earrings or the asymmetrical hairstyles of groups like Salt and Pepper, right? Really, I said pepper. Sorry, Salt and Pepper. Put the A on it. We see how that shapes mass culture. And I ain't gonna lie, you're gonna see me in the video before the semester's over. I wear my door knocker earrings on a regular basis. So for me, it's part cultural, but it's everyday, wear for me. It's funny. One of my friends, I took a picture, and I posted on Facebook, and I was talking about what I had on. And he was like, "You were super collegiate except for your door knocker earrings." I had like a cashmere sweater on and a tweed jacket that had some, corduroy elbow patches on. But I had my gold hoops on. I had my big, the 2.5-inch diameter door knockers on. And they're, in my regular rotation of jewelry that I wear. And then on the flip side, then I have, the Tiffany that's in there too. So really those different, hip hop R&B meets preppy, right? Meets classic preppy style is really kind of where I am. But it's really important that we draw on these inspirations, right? As we are developing our lexicon, I don't know if I can get it out, our lexicon and the zeitgeist, right? And the zeitgeist is looking for references from the past for what's happening in the present, right? So being able to look at, what's here on the screen, these subcultures and these art movements and these music genres. When we talk about things like graffiti culture, or we talk about, poetry slams, or we talk about, I said hip hop and R&B, but if we talk about, punk or metal, right? All of these things, when we say these different genres of music, there is a fashion that goes with it, right? And then when we look at, must-see movies. So if we look at things like, I'm still in awe of the fashion for Black Panther. It was really revolutionary. But if we look at, other popular culture movies, even when we look at stuff like Star Wars, right? These must-see movies, like people want to imitate what Rey had on. And if we think about what Rey had on, she just had on a draped tunic, right? Which again is just a reference from ancient Greece and Rome. So it's really important that we're able to articulate where we get where we get our influences from, right? So, you know, we get influences from bikers and goths and hippies and nerds. There's a whole, you know, there's nerd fashion and surfers and preppies, and you know, I love drag queens. Like, there's just so over the top and ridiculous, and I get there sometimes, sometimes too. And you know, S&M and bondage, right? So even the subcultures that are not mainstream, right? The cultures that are not mainstream still, you know, have influence and continue to influence style. So, so there are some key eras that influence style, and in each era, you know, there are some specific silhouettes that have influenced that style as well. And that you have that chart underneath this video, so I'm going to put the chart under the video, okay? And then I also have some arts movements and some music genres, and just kind of the influence that they've had on style. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to move on and talk about some fashion icons, and some of them you'll know, some of them you absolutely won't, and then we'll in the lecture part we'll talk about some of the modern day fashion icons, and some of the trendsetters and trend spotters and kind of it girls and influencers will be in the non-recorded part of this lecture. So first we're going to talk about one of the first, not necessarily one of the first fashion icons, but we're going to talk about Diana Freeland. And Diana Freeland was the editor of Harper's Bazaar and Vogue way before before our good friend Anna, and she really brought a sense of fantasy to fashion magazine. She brought the sense of fashion as art, and she became legendary by explaining to the everyday woman how fashion is an expression. Your personal style is an expression, and how your personal style can be inspirational, and it really should transcend times. So now I say that to say there should be some evolution in your style, right? So, you know, the garments that I wore when I was 20, I wouldn't necessarily wear now. You know, my body's different, which is funny because those garments are right back around. Biker shorts are right back in style like they were when I was 20. But, you know, and Diana Freeland actually passed away the year that I graduated from high school, in 1989. And she just was known for her bold and dramatic personality, her love for the color red. Red is my favorite color. I would say that's my signature color. I have a lot of red garments, and y'all saw my red sneakers, red shoes, and more red lips than I should have, than any one person should have. But she really was distinctive in her style. And, you know, I have her here because she helped shape the way that I look at fashion, in part because, you know, she was still editor-in-chief at Vogue and Harper's when, you know, I was in high school, which is when I really was starting to get into fashion. And for you, some of you, it may be Anna Wintour, it might be, you know, I don't know. It may be Victoria Beckham. It may be, I'm not gonna say J-Lo. It may be Ariana Grande. You know, your list is gonna be different than mine. But I just want to bring in some of the historical. There would be no Anna Wintour if it wasn't for Diana Freeland. So now moving on to some of the other icons. Again, hopefully you know who all these people are. If you don't, I'm going to say go and look them up. I didn't put a picture of everybody on here because I just couldn't fit them all on the screen. But, you know, you have people like Katharine Hepburn, who is an actress, and, you know, she's known for films. I Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, which was the first film with an interracial couple in it, because Who's Coming to Dinner was Sidney Poitier, which freaked people out. That's a whole other story. But she was known for, you know, just wearing trousers, for having a seamlessly effortless menswear inspired fashion Her personal style was menswear inspired, and it continues to influence, the fashion world today. I love menswear. I said I'm a rap, R&B, preppy. I guess I should put menswear inspired person in there. I love menswear inspired. I love menswear fabrics in feminine cut garments. So I have a handful of really awesomely cut, fitting, tailored blazers that are in menswear fabrics, in a couple suits, 1 or 2 suits. And then we have, Iris Apfel. She's still alive, and she is exotic, right? If you don't know who she is, go look her up. She's known for having layers upon layers upon layers of very colorful, large, chunky costume jewelry in wide brim, round glasses. She always has on a colored lip. Most of the time it's red. And she's been named by the Met as one of the most fashionable and stylish women in New York. And technically she wasn't even a fashion person. Her and her husband owned a textile company, and they made fabrics really for interior designs. But her style just shined through, right? And she's designed jewelry and a collection for Macy's. She's actually been the face of MAC Cosmetics, and she has a documentary made about her that's really awesome. So you should check that out. I'll see if I can find a link for it and add it to the bottom part of this lecture. Of course, we all know Marilyn Monroe, and and the scene with her holding her dress down over the subway grate, and Audrey Hepburn, and Breakfast at Tiffany's and My Fair Lady, and all of those great things. And then, of course, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, and her style as well. And little known fact that Jackie, I don't know how little known it is in the fact, for maybe but a lot of people don't know because you're fashion students. But Jackie Kennedy's wedding dress was actually designed by an African American socialite designer. Her name is Ann Lowe. There's some great stories out there about Ann. Very, very little known. As well as on the flip side, Playboy Bunny costume was also designed by African American designer. So good old Zelda made the Playboy Bunny costume. Okay, and then moving forward to people that have come in my lifetime, right? That whose style I just love is Elizabeth Taylor, always because she was dripped. That wasn't the word they were using, but that's the word we use now. She was always dripped in diamonds. Diana Ross can do no wrong. Big hair, red lip, front slit down to the belly buttons, slit up to the top of her thigh. And not listed here, but her daughter, Tracy Ellis Ross, always says she's my spirit animal. I think her and her stylist, Kate, do an excellent job of pushing fashion forward. Again, one of my spirit animals is Grace Jones, who's pictured here. She is the epitome of IDGAF. She's just classic, stylish, angular, over the top. Like, honestly, if you don't know who Grace Jones is, Gaga wouldn't be able to wear the things that she wore if Grace Jones hadn't done it first. And she actually was a muse for a graphic designer. Take Fashion D45 with me, you'll learn all about that, about her being a muse. And then, I grew up with Madonna, and Madonna pushing the envelope on lingerie as outerwear. Can't go wrong with Naomi Campbell, with her crazy nuttiness, her quirks. I don't want to say crazy, with the quirks that she has. David Bowie and Prince. If we talk about men, their androgynous styling is definitely has shaped part of what I wear. And I hate to say it, I'm just like, I want a frilly shirt too, because Prince has one on, right? Or some of the choices that Bowie made, and also his stunning wife left an impact on me. So So that's my short list.